Hey, this guy's back. This morning, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends, the missing ingredient for lasting relationships. Yeah, from the relationship guru. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends happening right now. Welcome to Mornings in the Lab where accused.
When something negative comes up,
building muscle improves blood flow.
Nobody is expecting, John.
if your lady's saying that, you're just
Being as a super
Be entertained by fun over here.
How have I slept? Has my sleep been good? Is that
Hey, what's the missing ingredient for lasting relationships? I got it for you. We got it for you. Coming up at the bottom of the hour. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends, baby. Yes. The show is getting going here today. The only morning show to get your ass out of bed, boys. You hit that snooze button. You're 9 minutes behind. You do it all year. You're 2.5 days behind the guy over there, baby. Get up, and get going. Hey, we're talking the day before Valentine's Day today. We got a lot of conversation to help you guys get going, help those build those relationships. The only show for men getting after it. I'm the host. I'm Keith Billis. John Anderson's over there. The guy's picked up a few heavy things in his life and put them down. Yeah, true story. See Marty Fitz joining us from Maryland after rolling some snowman yesterday. He's hanging with us all day today as well. Producer Jimmy's on the buttons, making sure we sound good, look good, and make sure the content comes to life. And we got, of course, our producer, our community dude, the little guy with energy, the guy that never stops. He's like the Energized Bunny. We call him Walter. We call him Tommy. We call him Walter Thomas here as well. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. We got the whole team coming at you guys this morning. Of course, we got AJ Zeglin joining us later on in the day as well. And big show, lots of energy, a lot of fun coming at you today. We're all talking about the pre-Valentine's stuff happening here in the lab here. And listen, guys, just a reminder, topics come up on our show that might not be comfortable for the children. So I'm inviting you to ask the children to either go out of the room, put the headphones in, or just basically tell them that we're going to be talking about discussions that you might want to be having with them on your own. So let's get that warning out of the side here. Good morning, good time. Good to have you here first thing in the show this morning. Good morning, Adam Holroyd. How cold is it in Toronto this morning? Minus 30 here this morning as I wake up here in Winnipeg, Canada. Tommy, Jimmy, let's bring in Mr. John Anderson. See what's shaking with the boy. How's the boy doing this morning, brother? You looking sharp, man. I love the shirt, the black shirt. What does that say? Caffeine and kilos.
yeah.
I like that. How are you, pal?
Coffee sponsor.
Yeah. Hey, caffeine, and we want you to sponsor our show. How are you, brother? How are you doing today?
Good. A little bit of a change of plans yesterday after we talked. I went to go train, and I was getting into the squat. I was squatting yesterday.
Yeah.
Squat rack, and I didn't have my shoulder warmed up all the way. And when I got in there, I could just feel I gave myself like a little, basically like a bicep tendon insertion. Kind of could just feel it kind of pull a little bit. Like, ooh, I better warm up a little better. It takes a little while for me to get my shoulders warmed up enough to get under the bar. Oh, mercy, dude. This thing, it's back. It's like, it got me good. Like, I'm having a heart it's challenging to lift my hand up. So I got to be it's perfect that today's a day off.
No shit, eh?
Yeah. So I didn't ride yesterday is what I'm leading up to. I
was really bummed. Gonna say, so you didn't ride yesterday. Yeah.
I almost went too. And I was like, you know what? I don't really have to do much with my hand. Everything's down, because my handlebars are lower than my shoulder. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, you're talking about taking a fucking, a few 100-pound machine hurling through the air, 40 to 60 feet, and you're having a hard time lifting your hand over your head. Maybe you should just stay home.
Well, and you need your shoulder to adequately, properly ride the bike. Like, you need shoulders, you need arm strength. You gotta be stable up there, right? Or else you're tumbling.
Oh, dude. I mean, 100%. I mean, dude, like, just to give you like one lap probably takes, I don't know, I have to time it, but it's not very long. But I'm telling you, by one lap and I'm breathing hard. I go like 3 and I have to stop for a break because my forearms are so fucking pumped from holding on to the goddamn handlebars, and I'm breathing hard, dude. I mean, you're working hard. It's not like a joyride.
Motorcycling with John Anderson this morning on Mornings at Alive with Keith and Fred. Good morning, Shinku. I see you there in the comments. Adam's working from home today, took the Jeep in. Hey, Adam, I got a Jeep, brother. I got the same Jeep I've been driving since I had my son. And people are like, Billis, why don't Yeah, people are Billis like, why don't you buy yourself a brand new vehicle? Like, it's not as if you can't afford one. You know why, Johnny? Because I'm a cheap motherfucker. But the other reason is, here's a true story, actually. I work from home. My driving circle is relatively small. I have a hard time validating a monthly car payment or a vehicle paid for sitting in the yard that is aggressively depreciating every day when I may drive the car for an hour, a half an hour, once a day.
Brother, I so am with you. I fight that battle too. But I realize, you know what? I worked hard to have the things that I wanted. So Terry and I, there's 2 of us, we fucking leave the house. When we're at this house, we leave the house probably just max 2 times a week, max. And that's if we're choosing to go out to a gym. We have 4 cars here.
And brother, I'm going to call you, man. You walk into the garage and all you see is the money just dripping away because the depreciation is adding up. Believe me, I got this Tesla Roadster sitting in my garage that's all wrapped up, and I take it for granted. There's a $300,000 asset sitting there. I'm like, oh yeah, it's just a car.
But I just realized that, hey, this is part of this is what I wanted. I worked to get what I want. If I lived my whole life worried about, sometimes people make a bunch of dough and they don't actually enjoy it.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yes, 100%.
So, yeah, I mean, my uncle, he was a great dude, massive influence on me.
Yeah.
The guy probably died with close to $100 million. Drove a Prius. You would never know that he was, but the thing is, he died, unfortunately, got a tumor in his brain. And, I would have liked to see him, live, like use the fruits of his labor. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. Yeah, I absolutely do. And I'm going to tell you something. We got a bunch of boys hanging out this morning. Boys, you got to stick around for the next few minutes here. I got some massive news for us men. It's going to make Johnny quite happy. I was telling Jimmy this morning, I got some news going to drop for you guys. It's going to upset many of us men, frankly, that probably don't do what Johnny does. But I'm going to drop that here in a few minutes, guys, because what I'm going to tell you guys is going to change your fucking life. John knows the secret already, actually. John and I wouldn't have known this till I met John less than a year ago. Now that I got the story here, I'm thinking about maybe going down this path. But let's just stay here for a couple minutes on depreciating assets. But Johnny, philosophically, and I see everybody's chatting about their Jeeps here in the.
Hey, real quick, what I was leading up, that whole thing was leading up to basically I got a vehicle.
Yes.
Like it was almost like I bought a vehicle, totally inspired by Arnold because he was one of my huge motivators. I got a Hummer, a full blown, restored Hummer, like a Humvee, military Humvee.
Yeah.
So I can smoke cigars in it. That's my vehicle to smoke cigars in. So each vehicle has a purpose. That's how I justify it.
Hey, whatever works for you, brother. Whatever works for you. But philosophically,
that's it.
I know. I'm looking at some of the comments here. Kia, no, would I like to get the new Roadster? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm with Good Time. As I'm older, I need less, and I don't get as much joy out of. It's like I don't know. I had a young lady over last night. Johnny did an interview with me, and she's interviewing my life and my story and everything, and she's asking me all these tough questions. All the tough questions we as old guys get. I'm like, yeah. Pretty simple. Go to bed early, get up early, talk to a bunch of dudes, do it again. I'm pretty happy with that. Don't need a fancy car. Don't need I'm enjoying the simple things these days, right? I just want to go and hang out with my wife, go for a walk, go for dinner, make some food in the kitchen, right? I don't know.
It's funny. I'm kind of getting that way because was it maybe a month ago, 2 months ago, I went to go start up our Panamera. Which is in fucking thing wouldn't start. I'm like, God damn it. It's been sitting so fucking long, the battery died. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. If you have a fucking car, you don't drive enough that the fucking batteries go dead. What's going on here?
And here's the funny thing, Johnny. I'll speak plurally. We have these expensive vehicles sitting in the garage, and then the Panamera doesn't start. And you're like, oh, all right, here's the visa. They're like, yeah, it's $5,000 later. You're like, oh, fuck. I wish I didn't go out to pretend it didn't start because I'm just dropped a bunch of K that I wasn't expecting on dropping today, right?
Well, and then I have people come here to fix the shit. I don't take it somewhere. So it's even more expensive than normal, you know? But
oh man.
But I'm with you. I start to kind of realize, you know, is it like you know, I start to teeter on that a little bit. You know what I mean? Because it's like, fuck, now I'm investing my time into a fucking car I don't drive much, because that's the car we drive back and forth to our house in Mexico. It's funny enough. Yeah. That fucking car is just so comfortable on road. It's just, you don't even know you're driving, you know, and it actually gets, not that that's the reason, but actually gets really good fucking gas mileage. It's like 23 miles a gallon, you know, and driving that fucking Hummer down there, you know, that's a different deal, you know. So anyway,
I bet.
But I'm starting to I'm getting that feeling like you're describing right now. It's like, okay, well, do I really need all this shit?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly it. I have this Roadster in the garage. It has what's that? What are you going to say?
But then the flip side is, you know, I'm getting ready to buy this cabin in Big Bear, so I'm going to need to put my Hummer up there. So I guess I'll be one car short here now.
You know what I want to know? I want to know how the smell of that studio is, since you've been hanging out with a cigar the last few months.
It's great, dude. I fucking love it, dude. It
boys,
smells so good.
Oh man, boys, ears up. We're gonna go from vehicles to well, fuck, I'll just say it. We're going from vehicles to assholes, Johnny.
Wow, that's quite a turn.
It's quite a turn. Yeah, it's quite a turn. Jimmy, ears up, boys. Boys, ears up. I got something that's gonna devastate all of you guys. But Johnny knows the truth to this already. Listen, research has come out, and a doctor has come out, an anal surgeon has come out, Johnny, and has said, we need to stop doing one thing immediately, men. We need to stop wiping our ass.
I'm already there, baby.
We need to start using, I know, we need to start using the bidet. Yep, apparently a surgeon, Dr. Evan Goldstein, has said that the best technique for cleaning our ass is actually not using toilet paper. And he says, when you're looking at someone's anus to the left and right, and there's all these wrinkles, it's like an accordion. It opens and closes, the front and the back towards all these things. He says, instead of wiping, you need to clean the area without toilet paper. His comments are, I am a huge bidet fan. He also recommends quick shower or rinse if you don't own a bidet. You always want to make sure that you're drying yourself. This is the reason why he says, even though wet wipes are widely popular, we should never use them. Men, never use wet wipes to clean your butthole. You need to use the bidet or go to the shower. He talks about they're terrible, but for your butthole, there's so many companies out there, but all the chemicals and all the stuff in there is not doing good stuff. But what he's talking about, Johnny, is largely that when we're using wet wipes and some of the toilet papers that are out in the marketplace, they're actually messing with the microbiome of that area of the body. So his comment is very much, you need to use a bidet as much as often. And if you don't have access to a bidet, you need to get your butt cleaned in the shower. And more importantly, his comments also align with you might not want to use toilet paper in public facilities as much as you think, because of the kind of toilet paper that these public facilities will use might not necessarily be good for your butt. So there you go, Johnny. Breaking news.
Brother, I'm ahead of this one. It's just like when people you say, oh, too much protein will hurt your kidneys. You can't process protein for energy. Well, fuck, man. I've been doing this shit for a long time. You know, you can say whatever you want, but this is the stuff I know of. You know, sometimes you're in the trenches, you're a little bit ahead of science.
Well, this is why like when Jory comes on, because Jory comes on and drops the science, and Johnny's like, no, I've eaten fucking 3,000 eggs at one time. I know what the science doesn't say. So there you go, boys. We need to stay away from the toilet paper. Listen, it's going to be difficult for all of us just to drop the toilet paper and get to the bidet. But gentlemen, there are solutions out there. There's solutions where you can add like a little bidet underneath the like the toilet rim. There's these custom kind of thing. John, do you actually have a bidet, or do you have like a water solution, like a hack installed on your toilet?
No, it's all one. So I don't have to. The one where you have to move from one stool to the next. That's nasty. That's terrible. I don't like that one.
I know.
I just want to sit right there, and then you got the remote control just to the right on the wall, right, and you just basically dial it in, man.
We got good.
It's like a TV controller for your asshole.
Good morning, Mark. Good times coming in with. I don't know what this is, but good time. I would love to know what monkey butt is, because good time is like no one likes monkey butt, Johnny, Marty.
I would have to assume that's nasty. That's like swamp ass or something. Nasty ass.
Marty, you came into the great time of the conversation. We're educating us men that we can't.
He's like, get me the fuck out of here, man. These boys are having their white boy humor again. I'm gonna leave.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How are you, pal? How's Christopher, aka C Marty Fit Martin today?
Hey, what I tell you every day, man.
That's why I asked.
If I woke up, if I'm fit,
baby,
I'm doing amazing.
I love
that's
that.
it.
That's exactly. You're like, I'm telling you, you're like my dad. Dad, how's it going today? Well, I'm on this side of the earth. I'm a happy man, and I'm hoping to be here tomorrow. Then I ask my dad, hey, well, I'll see you tomorrow. Well, if the good God lets me wake up my eyes tomorrow, I'll see you tomorrow. Like his attitude about life is so awesome that way.
So I'm young to y'all, but like to my peers, they say I'm an old soul. So
I believe that actually, and I think that's one of the reasons I love you, because I love your old soulness. But what I've noticed, and Johnny, I think you've noticed this too, is we've been hanging out with Chris here for almost a year. Your youngster old soulness, like your wisdom just continues to come to life. And I'm saying you're talking about things that I bet you younger Chris wouldn't think you'd be talking about. But you're like, well, fuck, because you said something yesterday which really struck me. You're like, for the dudes that are liking what we're talking about, you're like, this is just life, man. Like, we're talking about normal life. We're talking about things that happen to us, and that's just what we're talking about. So if you don't like it, then go somewhere else. But I love that it came from you, like the youngster, not the old dude or the old dude. Like, no, you're like, no, guys, this is what we're talking about, because this is what life is, right? So,
yeah, man. Well, if I hang out with y'all enough, I'm gonna start, thinking like y'all and talking like y'all.
So before
and y'all gonna start thinking and talking like me too.
Yes, exactly.
That's it. You can't. It just kind of happens, right? When you're surrounded by the right shit, you end up with the right shit.
So before we get to the accountability check-in, Johnny and Keith want to ask Marty. Marty, do you have anything you'd like to get off your chest this morning? We might have to get I'm thinking about introducing a get off the chest Marty segment first thing in the morning, where we step back and Marty just has his thing. We laugh, we giggle, we go to the next thing. Marty, what's on your mind today, brother?
As far as getting stuff off of my chest, I think I don't have anything today, actually. But I usually do have something. So I like this segment, actually.
I know you do. And I love it, because I love to hear what's going on in Marty's mind. And I also love this part of the show where we're going to get to the accountability check-in, and we're going to come back and keep the show rocking and rolling here, boys.
Yes, sir.
All right,
come on, man.
Let's go. I like this comment here. Swamp ass. Yes. I don't know, Shinku. Swamp ass. Listen, I just say it like it is. Yeah. True story. There you go. I'm getting a t-shirt that says true story. But you guys, don't take it personally. Because if that's your definition of real, we need to talk. People are like, oh, you guys talking about that? Oh, you're talking about that? Oh, you're having these conversations about this? Yeah, it's called life, man. It's just real life. We're having the conversations here. Bluntness without awareness, it's not honesty. It's called laziness. Being real isn't about being reckless with your words. No, it's about kindness, curiosity, and intention. Put those three words into a blender and see what happens. Be kind, be curious, be intentional. Ooh, maybe magic in your relationships. It's showing that you care enough to communicate well. It doesn't mean avoiding hard truths. No, it doesn't mean sugarcoating, but it does mean thinking before you speak. Because guys, real honesty is clear and considerate. If your words push people away, well, that's on you. You're not being authentic. You're being a jerk. So you want to be a better leader, a better partner, a better human? Start by communicating like you actually care. Let's say that again. Start by communicating like you actually care. And you know those three words that I offered up to you, those three words that I said might just create magic in your life? Kindness, curiosity, and intention. Maybe throw the fourth one in there, a little bit of empathy. Being curious about the person on the other side of the conversation might unlock a whole level of conversation with that human. So get after it, guys. Get after it. Be curious, be kind, be intentional, offer some empathy, and watch the magic happen with your partners, with your friends, with your family, with all your relationships. There's your accountability check-in, boys, this morning on Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. That's it. All right, let's bring him back. Jimmy, let's bring the boys back up on the stage. Keep the show rolling here. Where are we gone here? What do I got? All right, well, listen, let's get this one here, guys. Let's get to this one here. I got something I want to talk about here this way. And I'm going to offer it up here. Johnny, do you ever, so I think I know the answer to this, but I still feel like I have to ask it. Do you ever sometimes feel the world of ageism creeping up? Like you look around and you think to yourself, geez, man, I'm getting older, but the world keeps kind of going on younger, and the world's more built and created for guys like Marty and our kids and your kids, Johnny. And you sometimes worry that that as we get older, that we are older and that ageism starts to creep in. I'm curious what your POV on that is, Johnny.
That's a good question. I mean, I guess there's a couple layers to that. First off, if I my first reaction to that is I don't have these thoughts of like, oh, the world is blah blah blah. It's changing so fast. Blah, blah. I mean, I make jokes like give me my fax machine, but
yeah.
If I'm noticing the shit you're talking about, I'm not fucking focusing on the things that are important to me.
Yes.
So I realized very quickly if my mind is, worried about shit like this that it's out of my control, then I'm fucking slipping.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I offer the question up because I got a discussion here I want to throw on the table for all of us men, which is that 10 science-backed ways to look and feel younger. Because I'll be honest, John, you and I have laughed about and talked about. You're like the chin here. What's happening here at the chin? So you're growing the beard out, and we do this TV show here. We're on TV all the time. People are seeing us all the time, and I look at some.
Brother, forgive me for interrupting, but shit, you're talking about that now. That's different. Now, me figuring out how I can be the best me as time goes forward. That's a different question. I invest plenty of energy into that.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to talk about that, which is is your reflection showing signs of aging you'd rather not see? And Marty, I'll be vulnerable with you, brother. You're the young handsome dude. I talk to people all the time about our show. They're like, "Who's the young handsome black dude on the show?" I'm like, "Oh, it's not me and John." And like, "Oh, who's the young handsome dude out there in Maryland?" I go, "It's not me and John." Like everybody I talk to fawns over Marty. I'm like, "What about me and Johnny?" Nobody's fawning over Keith and Johnny. It's because because Marty keeps Keith and John young here on the show. His handsome looks, his chiseled face and looks.
Well, thank you, man.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. But
hey, we all have our role,
That's exactly it. But let's talk about the idea of ways to look and feel younger. And people who will prioritize looking and feeling younger will prioritize skincare with consistent moisturization, right? Johnny, are you somebody who consistently moisturizes your skin to keep your skin looking younger?
Brother, I've been putting lotion on my skin since I was probably 12.
Yeah.
And it was started off because I had eczema. It's a hereditary thing.
Eczema. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
I get it bad too.
Oh, you do, Marty, as well?
Yeah. So,
oh my God.
And I had it to the point where it was like, like I had these little fucking spots all over me.
Yeah.
And it was in wrestling, they look like ringworm. If you got ringworm, you can't get on the mats because it's highly contagious.
Oh.
And so, but it wasn't ringworm, it was eczema. So I'm getting all these fucking spots all over me. And the coach is like, I don't know what that is. Possibility it's ringworm. You got to go get that checked out. And it just started fucking, I mean, he just saw a little spot. Next thing you know, there's fucking 200 of these things all over me.
Yep.
And so they figured it out. It took a little while to figure it out, but a dermatologist basically was able to figure it out, and he gave me this lotion, which made it better. So I started putting the lotion on, and of course, at that age, all I want to do is be like everybody else. So I'm trying to get rid of these spots. So I was putting that lotion on religiously.
Oh,
well, I've been lotioning myself so long, literally. When I get out of like if I'm at the beach, we're in the lake, hanging out in the lake. When I get out of the lake, right, my skin basically at that point has had whatever remnants of the lotion is gone. My skin doesn't feel right. It feels like I feel kind of crispy, if you will. So it's basically I put lotion on my skin just about every time I get out of water.
Interesting. And Marty, are you
shower guaranteed? Shower guaranteed.
Marty, are you a lotioner? Like, do you use lotion nonstop?
Oh yeah, I have to. I have to. And I got sensitive skin. I'm trying to find a picture for y'all.
Yeah.
I got super sensitive skin. Like I get acne.
Yeah.
I get eczema.
Yeah.
And I even break out in hives sometimes. Let me see if I can show you this picture.
While you're doing that, I'll confess to you guys. Some comments are coming in. Shinko's like, using lotion works. Good time.
Can you see this?
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm with you, Johnny. I'm with you.
Yeah. So guys, I hate lotion. I don't use it.
What? Hold on. What about lotion?
So I'm not
dislike.
Using lotion is not a preference of mine.
There we go, baby. There we go. Evolution at its best.
I love you, brother. I love you, man. I love it. This is
Hey, Johnny, I called it too. That's why I started laughing.
This is accountability, man. I love it. No, lotion is not something I prefer using. It doesn't make me feel comfortable. It makes my skin feel really weird. And for the longest time, people use lotion. Yeah,
maybe you're using the wrong one, brother. Because there's some that won't. If there's certain lotions that make my skin feel like it can't breathe. And other lotions, I feel very refreshed.
So for me, let me ask you this. So is your whole body, like, do you have hair on any of your body? I'll be honest. Do you have hair anywhere, or are you bald everywhere?
Oh, brother, I have fucking hair everywhere.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if I didn't shave, the only thing that you would see, of course, the top of my head is fucking bald. But my beard would go up under the rims of these glasses. I look like fucking Sasquatch.
I ask that because I don't like lotion in hair. So unless I'm shaving my body fully raw,
that's nasty. I agree with that.
So lotion just drives me nuts. You know, guys, my skincare.
What about you try Aquaphor?
I haven't, Marty. No, I have. I gotta admit, I haven't. No.
Try that. That's what I use.
Interesting. Yeah, I will. My skincare routine, boys, is water. Like I literally just soap and water, and that's it. It's the most simple skincare routine, regardless if that's good or not. Maybe that's why I'm aging so fast in front of the camera.
Well, check this out, bro. In soap, the fragrances in soap and fragrances in laundry. This is like some of the most toxic shit we're figuring out.
I know. Yeah,
fragrances is like Keith. What unbelievable.
Oh, nice, Marty. Show it to me, Marty.
Oh yeah. Try this.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay, well, yeah, Johnny, I know, and I'll tell you something. It's one thing that I'm really in love with Lauren about is that since she's been in my life, very much pulling out all that toxic crap that you talk about, right?
Yeah.
That all the CPG companies have polluted us with for years.
Yeah.
Right. So
sorry, go ahead. I didn't realize you were forgive me.
But one of the problems I don't like with some of the stuff that doesn't have some of those chemicals in it is that some of the products don't work, right? And I,
yeah.
You're using 1,000 times more of it than if you use the chemical stuff, right? So it's like, what's your choice? So I just stick with water, right? I largely stick with water. I'm really glad we're getting into the skincare discussion because I can see all the comments lighting up here. Yeah.
Try this, brother. Try literally and I've done this before. It's a little less efficient because once you do it, you got to take a few minutes to kind of let it soak in, but literally just fucking straight up organic raw coconut oil.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
It's fucking, but the problem is, because you start putting it on there and as your skin warms it up, it really starts soaking in, but you got this glaze on you that you got to wait probably, I don't know, solid 5 minutes before whether you're putting on a robe or whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And I don't like giving that 5 minutes of my life away every time I do it.
I hate to waste fucking time. I don't care what kind of time it is.
Marty.
That's it.
Brand new segment coming up. Don't waste 5 times moisturizing. If you waste 5 minutes a day for the whole year, you're going to be a day and a half behind the guy that didn't moisturize.
No, you want to hear how fucking down I've got this, right? So I use the pump, right? I have a pump bottle. There's this. I can't remember which one that Terry gets me, but it's the one that's all dialed in. I have X amount of pumps for each leg. 3 pumps for the left leg, 3 pumps for the right leg, 4 pumps for the shoulders and the arms, 1 for the midsection. And literally it's the perfect amount so that I wipe it in and I'm ready to fucking put on my robe. Bam. Marty, if I don't use the pump system, like if I have to squeeze it in my hand, I always end up with a little too much, a little too little. And then I got to sit there and fucking wait.
Marty, why do I think that Johnny has the amount of strokes required to empty the clip documented somewhere? Why do I think that
probably
Marty
does?
Well, it just depends on
calculated.
It just depends. If I'm by myself, I want as few as possible, You know, if I'm with Terry, then it's the flip side of the coin. You know, I'm looking for.
This is the best. We're talking how to stay young. We started the conversation with skincare and we haven't left it. I can just see the whole dialogue. And then Shinku's like, Jory would love this conversation. Yes, she would. We're talking about all these great stuff. I want to get back to coconut oil, but coconut oil would be an expensive skincare lotion. No, because coconut oil is not cheap, right? Like, but that's just
we're not talking about expense. We're talking about what we do to take care of ourselves. But yeah, if you were getting a really good coconut oil, it would probably be far more expensive than lotion. I would imagine. I don't know. But I don't pay for this shit.
Coconut oil, you're literally taking that coconut oil, putting your hand in it, and rubbing it on your body, right? Like that's literally what you're doing. What you're saying.
Yeah, you know what's kind of trippy though is in when it's warmer, it's you know, coconut oil it'll be clear and liquid. When it's colder, it's actually the white kind of paste or whatnot. So
yes,
it's kind of a trip. You can choose to keep it how you want it to, you know. So, but yeah, it's interesting for sure.
That's interesting. All right,
I do like smelling like coconut though.
Yeah, I bet you do. Does Terry like you smelling like coconut as well?
You know, it's weird. I use I've used the same lotion for so long.
Yeah,
all of my ladies, they're like, that's my smell.
Oh, you know? I love it.
It's like if my smell is different, they're like, they'll give me a hug and like, that's different, Dad, because they're so accustomed to what Dad is.
All right, that's awesome. So let's do this, boys. Jimmy, let's get we're gonna get Marty up for the fit tip. We're gonna come back and I want to get into a discussion, boys, around the missing ingredient for lasting relationships. And here's the thing, boys. I got a little segment I'm gonna drop here after Marty talks, a little bit of a monologue around myself and my life and the missing ingredient for lasting relationships from the relationship guru himself, the guy who's been divorced. So Marty, let's do the fit tip, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna offer it up. We're gonna have a conversation. Let's do it, boys. Let's get after it.
Yes, sir. All right, fitness tip for today. We're going to try something different. All right, so you hit a wall. You don't know what idea to do next, right? You don't know how to approach an argument. I'm going to propose something to you. Let's try to do some cardio while we think about that next step. Yes, do some cardio while you think about that next step. So if you're trying to come up with a plan for your business or finances, go for a walk. My favorite to do when I'm trying to come up with a new idea is to walk on the treadmill on the incline, right? For some reason, everything becomes clear. I'm releasing endorphins. I'm releasing dopamine, and I'm able to find that solution. Workout is, you're bettering yourself physically, but think about it as a way to get over that obstacle or that challenge in your life, and it'll be a regular thing. So not only are you getting healthier, but you're making your life better. So try that next time you run into a wall. Do some cardio to get over whatever it is that you're trying to get through. That's the fitness tip for today.
There's the fit tip of the day. Good stuff, Marty. I love it. You just get on the tread and start walking, eh? And get your
man, I get all the ideas. It's crazy. Like it's insane. Yep.
Momentum, right? And then when you get the momentum, the brain gets going. It's so. I love that you say that because it's simple, isn't it? It's not rocket science in many ways.
It's not. I'm sure Johnny agrees too.
Yeah. You just got to get moving. Good morning, Fontana. I see you there in the comments. Good to have you here this morning. And Shinku, yes, I saw Marty's Planet Flipness video yesterday as well. I had some fun. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, I invite you to go to see Marty's Instagram channel. He drops great content every single day, and he dropped a great post yesterday, which absolutely made me giggle, and I know it made Shinko giggle as well. Thomas Najoyous joining us from Africa this morning. Boys, you want the greatest safari guide on the planet? Like, I mean the freaking planet. Thomas is here on the show here this morning. If you want to go to Africa, connect with me. We'll get you connected with Thomas. He is the man when it comes to guiding. He guided my family and myself out there in Africa a number of years ago, and he is awesome. Good to have you here, Thomas. I'd love to get John and Marty doing the morning show from Africa in the back of Thomas's fucking Range Rover, cruising through the safari there. That would be awesome. So, let's do this. I want to get into our deep dive conversation today, which is
I remember I got to roll. Roll.
Oh yeah, you got to roll, Marty. You got to rock and roll. Yes, you do. Okay, so Marty's gonna get out of here. Marty, you have yourself a great day, brother.
Yes, sir. You too.
And we'll talk to you later. Okay, pal.
Have a good look.
You too. I'll be here for the full show tomorrow, man.
Awesome. All right. So listen now. Hey, what's up, Lauren? We got Lauren in the comments here as well. We got Good Time Boys got the Starlink Good Time's got the Starlink happening there. Johnny, didn't you get Starlink up for the cabin?
Yeah, we got Starlink here at this house
Yeah, there
because
you go.
because the regular internet, well, I don't say regular, but the non-Starlinks were not fast enough.
Okay. Yeah, Fontana, Marty had to leave because you came into the lab here. So it was like, I don't want this dude calling me Curtis around here. So Marty's like, I'm getting the hell out of here. Fontana's in the show. Well, listen, let's get to the big topic here, Johnny. We're going to get into a conversation about the missing ingredient for lasting relationships. And I'm going to offer up a little monologue from my point of view. I dropped the post here today. And then I got an article to talk about around the idea of communication and how that can offer advice for our men here on the show about, enforcing and strengthening their relationships. But the funny thing is, here's how it all starts. Jimmy, who the hell am I to offer relationship advice? Yeah, who am I to offer this up for today's show? I'm the divorce guy. But if you're in it, if you're thinking about it, if you're going through it, you're crawling out of the wreckage, you don't need advice. No, you don't need advice. What you need is probably needing perspective. Because divorce, it's not just paperwork. It's identity shattering, factually. It's losing a future you thought was guaranteed. It's guilt, relief, loneliness, and the occasional what just happened moment. It's untangling friendships. It's having tough conversations with family and kids, and it's standing in the in-between, that weird, messy stretch where you're no longer who you were, but you're not yet who you're going to become. And I'll tell you guys, nobody prepares you for that moment. But that's where the real work happens, guys. And here's what I'll share. Not as a guru. No, I'm not a guru, but just a guy who walked through the fire and came out on the other side. Now, I don't know if the younger me would have paid attention to this, but maybe it helps you. Maybe it does, but maybe some of the words I offer to you help you get through a situation that you might be in yourself right now. Listen, guys, divorce, it's not failure. Something wasn't working. Now, like we talk about here on the show, is a chance to rebuild. It's a chance to learn something, or frankly, you're going to repeat it. Empathy, communication. You got to do the work, boys, but you got to feel it all out. You got to feel the pain. You got to feel the fear. You got to feel the relief of it all, because numbing all of it drags the whole situation out. Guys, your identity isn't your relationship status, just like your job isn't. Who you were then isn't who you have to be next. You forgive, but you don't forget. You look in your mirror and you forgive. But bitterness, guys, bitterness is dead weight. Learn, you let go. You don't have to do this alone. You got therapy, you got friends, you got mentor, you find your people. I found one. His name was AJ Zeglin, joining us later on in the show. Ask this before you speak. Will this move the conversation forward? Be proud of how you handle the situation. And then 10 years from now, make sure you look back and respect the choices you made today. And gentlemen, if you're in it right now, or if you're considering it, or you're looking at it, just know this, boys, you're not broken, because I've been you. I am you. You're evolving. I've evolved. And guys, that last point is frankly something to be proud of. I had a wonderful conversation with my lovely wife, Lauren, a couple weeks ago, and she's like, yeah, I was talking to somebody who's ashamed that she went through divorce. And that comment struck me because it told me that she hasn't got to a point where she has evolved to a point where it's something that she can be proud of. So gentlemen, if you're going through it, don't run from it, embrace it, surround yourself with people that'll help you get to the next side. But I'm going to tell you, it's going to be tough. Jimmy, let's bring up back Johnny and let's get the conversation rolling. Fontana, I know you've been through it myself as well, my friend. But Johnny, let's have the conversation, man. The missing ingredient for lasting relationships when it comes from your point of view. And I got some things I want to offer up here as well, but Johnny, but from you and Terry's perspective, what is the missing ingredient for lasting relationships, John Anderson?
Well, I think, I mean, excuse me. I mean, I preach this all the time, but I think that if the foundation is communication, so you remove that and everything else will unravel, you know what I mean? It's like
Yes.
the missing ingredient. I think, I don't know. I mean, I guess there should be think of it like all the ingredients are there. The question is, are you using them properly?
Yes, I agree. And you know what? I found a fascinating study. Coincidentally, I don't know if it's the ironic or the coincidental part of the conversation, but coincidentally, I found this today, which is, I think, really relevant to the conversation. Harvard did a study, Johnny, and the study was about how to how to build better relationships quicker with your conversation partner.
Yeah.
And the study leaned into this whole idea. People who ask more questions, Johnny, particularly follow-up questions, are better liked by their conversation partners. Right?
Well,
And
it's like a person's the magic word for a person is their name. People want to feel like they're heard. They want to feel like the conversation is, a good conversation is when two people are engaged and there's a connection.
Yes.
And
Yes.
if one person's talking and the other person's clearly not paying attention, there's no connection.
Well, yeah, precisely. And the study talks about, Johnny, the researchers grouped conversational questions into 5 categories. And one of them was, you ask, what do you do for a living? The answer says, well, I'm a bodybuilder. John asks, I'm a bodybuilder. You follow up with, well, do you work out? Right? And the answer is, I do, but then you continue going with the conversation is, oh, so where do you work out? Right. And the research talks about getting into 3 additional questions. The more questions you keep asking, the more your conversational partner leans in. And what happens, Johnny, is the connection forms stronger.
Yeah.
And I know it seems so freaking simple, but I don't know if it is for most of us. Right. And I'll tell you some other thing too, Johnny, that I learned, and it's a hack, and I don't know if I want to share it with the world, so I'll just whisper it to you. But when I'm cold calling and reaching out to folks, because you just said if people want to talk about themselves, when I'm talking to folks, I'm trying to maybe sell them or get them engaged. You know what I say to them? Hey, do you want to be on my show? I use 2 words which gets somebody really excited. Do you? So now you're like, oh, do you? You're like, oh, it's about me, which is Johnny.
They feel wanted.
Exactly. Want to be on my show. So you're like, oh, this guy's got a show and he wants me to be on it, which means that what am I doing, Johnny? I'm stroking your ego. I'm leading into you. And there's no, like the walls are all down, right? Because I'm literally just saying, hey, man, do you want to be on my show? You're like, yeah, I want to be on your show. Why? Because if I'm asking you, what does that probably mean? Because I want to talk to you. And what it means is that you get a chance to talk about yourself. Because us humans want to talk about ourselves most often.
Yeah. I mean, excuse me.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, when you want to, like when I, like with my little girls, they are not little anymore, but when they were, socializing was very difficult for their generation, especially like going to some sort of a function where they don't know people. They're very scared of that because they're just not used to that type of, they're used to communicating with fucking Snapchat, shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I told him, I said, listen, all you got to do is ask questions. As long as you're asking questions, that person will continue to talk and you're off the hot seat.
Yeah. Well, and it's the power of curiosity, isn't it? And I know I use that word often and I use it so much around my world. And I brought up my conversation last night with Emma, but the power of curiosity is because when you're curious about someone, you make them feel really good. Yeah. Like if I keep asking you questions about you, well, you're going, well, God, this guy keeps asking me about me and he wants to know about me and he wants to learn about me. And what is it doing, Johnny? You're feeling good about yourself. And then what are you doing naturally? You're walking towards me, aren't you?
100%. I mean, when someone takes an interest in you, it's especially nowadays, it's like the human connection is becoming less and less just based on the fact that we're also connected to, I guess, electronics and social media. It's like, it's when there's so much less, like you find people that's like, I'll say another thing about girls, right?
Yeah.
We're sitting around talking and they're on their phone. They're like, hey, you got to kind of make a decision right now. Do you want to spend time with the person sitting in front of you or the person on the other end of that phone?
Yes.
And when, that whole thing of connecting in person or even just in conversation is kind of becoming lost.
Yes. So Johnny, the researchers also talked about here, and I'm going to flip my camera angle this here, that when you're having a curious conversation with somebody, Johnny, The research talks about that the key, and this is a Harvard research. This is not just Joe Schmuckalowski doing some research here, right? It's the key is to avoid the natural temptation. I've done it. I'm sure you've done it, Johnny. And guys, I'm going to get to your comments. You guys are really engaged in this conversation, so I appreciate all the comments coming in. I'll get to them in a second here. But the key is to avoid the natural temptation. And AJ, if you're tuning in, we're going to keep this conversation going with you, brother. The key is to avoid the natural temptation to toss in your own thoughts, feelings, opinions, information, other related miscellany. It's so tempting that there's a term for it. It's called a boomerang question. Asking a question as a springboard for talking about yourself. Yeah. And then the example would be, Johnny, what do you do for a living? And then you might say, I'm a teacher. And then I would say, oh, that's great. I'm an entrepreneur and I'm working really good and yada, yada, yada. And then what happens, Johnny, is it turns into all about me.
Yeah.
Right? I was curious about you, but the way that I answered it turned it all into me. Right.
Yeah, so one of those, the boomerang is like back to me, back to me, back to me.
Yes. Right. So some of the comments coming in here is talking about the missing ingredient for lasting relationships. Going back up to the top here. We got yes, we got Shinku coming. You have to put up with the bullfight. Yes, if you want people in your life, you have to compromise. I don't trust women enough to get married. Come on, Shinku. And then we got Shinku coming in with hey Joe.
That's a very limited belief, Shinku.
I would agree, Shinku. We might have to have you on the show and have that conversation with you, my friend. And then of course Fontana, Johnny, comes in and says, my wife would say the missing ingredient in his lasting relationship is 13 inches. And Joe's response is true story. We got Rick Clota joining us as well. Good morning, Rick. And Lauren comes in, and I appreciate her comment too. It seems that anyone who establishes a resentment for their partner cannot come back or get over that, as if the resentment is a breaking point. Right. And then Joe comes back in with this conversational piece, Johnny, which is, and I think you do it, I know I do it, starting and ending a sentence with someone's name is a game changer. Right, because you're addressing them, right?
Well, there's a flip side of that, though. You can also use that as using someone's name in a way that's like endearing, versus when you start and finish with someone's name. In many cases, that can be perceived as control, like manipulation.
Oh, interesting. Expand on that, please.
Well, when someone's like trying to drive a point home, hey John, how you doing?
Yes.
Hey John, how you doing? Or hey, John, how are you doing, John?
Yes.
Get the fuck off me, dude.
Yes. I had a fellow who, when I was growing up in the sales world, Johnny, who got really uncomfortable that I'd use his name. And I'm like, Gary, why? He's like, I don't know. I just, when you use my name too much, it makes me feel uncomfortable. I hung on that because I didn't really know what it meant.
I can understand that, because if we're just sitting there by ourselves and we're talking, there's no one else around.
Yeah.
Right. We both know who the fuck each other are. We might have, hey, Keith, how you doing? Let's sit down and have a cigar and have a conversation.
Right.
Fucking name things kind of over at that point.
Yes, that's a fair point. Now, I do it on this show I do it on the show to call you guys as if I'm talking to you, right? So you're keeping the group involved. This is a very different setting than a conversation. You're right, because if I'm sitting in your house and you're right, we're having a cigar together and I keep addressing you with John, you're eventually going to go, fuck Billis, what's your problem?
Well, I would literally say, I said, dude, what's up? We both know my name. Why do you keep using it? So I would just call you out on it. Like, hey,
Oh, this is good. Listen, let's keep the conversation going with AJ. We'll keep it happening, rock and roll here about the missing ingredient for lasting relationships. I got to think, Johnny, AJ's got guys coming through his lab, through his clinic, asking these same questions. So let's get to the lifestyle tip, and then we'll come back to the conversation with AJ. Let's do it, buddy.
Let's go, baby. When life is kicking my ass, I take a deep breath and ask myself a question. It really helps me. It might help you too. I ask myself this: am I a gardener in a war, or am I a warrior in a garden? It's a mental position. We have to realize that life is going to be filled with challenges. Life is going to be filled with ups and downs. Life is going to be filled with a lot of shit that sometimes we just don't want to deal with. Well, you have to realize that life is kind of a war, right? And there are many battles inside the war. And if you can win your battles, you will win the war. So basically it comes down to win your daily battle. And how do you win your daily battle? You frame it properly by asking yourself the question: are you a gardener in a war, or are you a warrior in a garden? bro.
Ooh, baby. I like that. Are you a gardener of war or are you a gardener? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
That's
yes,
it.
a gardener. Are you a gardener in a war,
Yeah.
or are you a warrior in a garden?
Oh, that's powerful stuff. AJ, what are you? I know AJ Zeglin's a warrior. He's getting after every single day. How are you, brother?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm good. Good to have you here this morning. I don't know if you had a chance to tune in here a little bit this morning. We're talking about the missing ingredient for lasting relationships because I'm the relationship guru here on the show.
Yeah, the love guru.
The love guru. Yeah. So Zach, let's keep it going, brother. We're talking about conversations. And I think that the consensus is, and I think you'd agree that, the missing ingredient for lasting relationships is a relentless commitment to communicating.
Yeah.
I want to bring this into your world. The guys coming into your world, the gentlemen that are coming in, the females coming into your world, talk about real life. How often, how common guys coming in saying, or women coming in, or couples coming in saying, we're struggling, or we're having some problems. Are you just bringing it right back to, you guys, you got to talk more. You got to communicate. Let's oversimplify it, but let's also make it tactical, AJ.
Yeah, you're right. It is communication, right? And it's a few different aspects of it. Like I've said before, in the 4 agreements,
Yes.
It's very powerful to not make assumptions. And the longer we're with people, we feel that we know each other, right? And so we tend to make a few more assumptions. And then all of a sudden, it's just this accumulation of these little things that just add up, right? And it might be something as easy as, Melissa calls me and is like, hey, is there hamburger meat in the freezer? And I'm like, yeah. And then we start talking about something else, and then all of a sudden it's the end of the day and she comes home and she's like, well, why didn't you take the hamburger meat out? And I'm like, well, you never asked me to take it out, And,
Just asked me if it was there.
Right. You just asked me if it was there. And then she's like, well, I would assume that if I asked you if it was there, you would know that I wanted you to take it out. And I would be like, well, I assumed if you wanted me to take it out, that you would have specifically said, can you take it out? Right. And I know it's just a funny little example, but
no, but it's a real example.
If we're ever sitting in a situation and we feel that we have an opportunity to remove an assumption, we should take it, right? No matter how small and trivial it is. And then it just leads to open, clear communication without those little misunderstandings. Our communication really improves and it really helps, right?
So let's stay there.
Yeah, real quick on that level, I was going to say, bro, I love this because like with Terry, I say to her, look, I need very clear directions. You can't just kind of get me moving in a certain, you can't get me moving over that way and expect that I'm going to end up on the bullseye. You got to tell me where that bullseye is and I'll get there every time. But I need very, very clear, specific directions. When you want something, you just got to lay it out and it'll happen. But short of that, realize that we may have a pitfall. Yeah.
And when we start, when we're looking at relationships, and in the therapy world, there's the Gottman Institute.
Yes.
The Gottmans are a couple. They're the gold standard in relationship therapy, right?
Yes.
And so all of us that work in therapy, when you're learning about relationship therapy and how to work with couples, you go get either certified through the Gottman Institute or you watch other videos and read all their books and listen to their podcasts and do all their stuff. Anyway, but they have a very simple way of putting it too, and that's they call it bids. So constantly throughout the day, us and our partner will put out bids for human interaction, right? So we're just, it could be something small, Keith, like Lauren saying something like, oh, hey, did you see this picture? Or you drive by in the car and she's like, oh, wow, I wonder what kind of flowers those are, or anything, right?
Yes.
And they're these little bids. And often when we first get in a relationship and everything seems fresh and new and exciting, and you're in this world of endless possibilities, you jump all over these little bids that people put out for connection, right? And then the longer we're with each other, the kind of more comfortable we get. All of a sudden, you're driving in the car and Lauren's like, oh, hey, did you see those flowers? And you're like, nah, and you're just keep driving or whatever. You know what I mean?
I do.
And then all of a sudden, it doesn't seem like much in the moment to you, and it probably doesn't even seem much like in that moment to her per se. But if those bids are just denied and denied and denied, then over time there's this accumulation of her just maybe feeling these slight little rejections, right? Like she's reached out for you in these different ways, looking for a connection with you, and you've just brush it off. And then all of a sudden, maybe over months or years or whatever, it feels like there's a real gap there now, right? And you're not as connected with one another.
Well, you used the word when you opened this conversation. This is freaking awesome, by the way. You used the word when you opened the conversation, and you used the word assumptions.
Right.
When I hear that word assumptions, what I link to next is taking for granted.
Right. Yes.
It's because it's kind of the same thing, right? Because when I'm assuming something of you, I'm largely maybe just taking the whole situation for granted. Yeah. And I think when that happens, you're in a bad space.
Yeah. What's that old saying? You know, make an assumption makes an ass out of me and you. Nobody wins with an assumption.
Yes. Right. Yes. So AJ, let's go back to the hamburger example. Let's real life. So people come in. So Melissa and AJ walk into the clinic's office, and you guys are kind of squabbling. You're like, AJ's like, Melissa's like, yeah, but he didn't take the hamburger out of the fridge. And AJ's like, well, yeah, but you didn't ask me to. And John's like, yeah, but if Terry doesn't give me the instructions, I don't know the full instructions. So is the therapist saying you both are right, you both are wrong? Or is the therapist saying, guys, get your shit together? Melissa, speak more clearly to AJ, like Johnny wants Terry to. And AJ, come on, man, use a brain here. If the wife is like, say, is there hamburger in the fridge, kind of putting 2 and 2 to add up to 4, going, we must be having the hamburger. Like who's, I don't want to use the word fault, but who is in this, like, who's not right, who's not wrong?
Right. I know. And it's funny that you say that, because deep down everybody wants to feel like they're right.
Yes. Well, it's funny because Lauren and I bought a gift to my parents a couple years back. It's a sign that says I'm with Mr. Right, or the sign was I'm with Mrs. Right, whatever it was. And my mom and dad are I was right, I was wrong. They just flipped the sign, right? Who was right? Because somebody always wants to be right.
You know, I had such a milestone in my life. Because I was one of those I would defend to be right. It's like I would waste so much fucking energy just to prove I was right early in my 20s.
Yes.
And then I realized I don't need to be right. I just need to get what I want.
Right.
If I'm happy to be wrong, if I'm getting what I want, please show me that I'm wrong and give me what I want. I'm all about that. Right means nothing. Right is just ridiculous. Right is a waste of time. I mean, if you are right because it turns out that way, that's great. But to defend it, and you see people do it all the time, it's like, holy Toledo. I did it and I didn't even know it. So I think that's what most people do.
And AJ, coming to you because Lauren's like, we want you guys to be mind readers. It's like AJ, it's like Melissa wanted you to know that she needed you to take the hamburger out and to cook the hamburger because that's what she. So let's go there here, AJ. Let's talk about this, brother.
Perfect. Yeah. So obviously, you know, we want to get to a place where it's not about who's right, who's wrong. Right.
Yes.
And so how do we get there? We get there with communicating in our own vulnerable way, right? And just like, you know, being open and honest and communicating what we want. We also have to be able to show empathy to the other person, right?
Yes.
So in that situation, I'm sitting there and I have to be able to put myself in Melissa's shoes and be like, okay, if I called her and asked her if we had hamburger meat in the freezer, would I be expecting her to just naturally take it out? You know, like what is she thinking? And I could sit there and be like, yeah, I mean, that seems pretty reasonable. You know, I could see how she could think that. Right. So we got to be able to put each other in the other person's shoes. And then the biggest, most important part, and this is what they found when they study relationships and the strength of relationships and what makes relationships positive, is it's not even sometimes that initial argument or disagreement happens. It's how we repair from it, how we come back from it. Right. So if I'm able to sit there and talk to her and be like, yeah, you know what? Like, I can't remember, like, I didn't take it out because I didn't think that you asked me to take it out, but I can understand your point of view. If you're calling to do that, then you know, that I could see how you just maybe would naturally assume that I that I would know to take it out. So that's fine. But then it's like, now, are we able to just let it go? Are we able to move on? Am I able to make a joke about it? Am I able to take something, whatever? And that's the important part, right? If you have a couple that has, 2 disagreements every week, right? But they're able to repair and come back from that. They're understanding with each other. They communicate after that disagreement happens. And they, they're open, they're honest with each other, they're empathetic, they use humor to navigate the situation, and they support each other. That relationship is stronger than the people that maybe only have one disagreement a month, but just don't repair from it, and they just hang on to that, and that just sits in them, and it just builds and it stews, and that that resent just keeps building and building. And then what happens is you're going to see a flip somewhere in there, right? Where those people with all that resentment and stuff building, and they just can't let it go. And they just hang on to that anger, that frustration, those negative feelings. Even if it doesn't happen a lot, they just hang on to it with like a death grip and won't let it go. That relationship is going to be, when you look down the road, they're going to be in a much more negative place than the people that maybe have more common disagreements at a higher frequency, but can repair and come back from them in a really healthy way.
Yes. Yeah. Letting that shit go, brother, is so key. And, in those situations, like going to the hamburger situation, if I was in that situation, and, basically what I would say to Terry, excuse me, I say, my apologies, baby. I didn't know that you wanted me to get it. And because I know I'm doing my part of making sure that we release this, I can only do what I can do. And when I stay in that position, it makes it easy for her to release. If I were like, well, she should have given me more specific instructions, then the odds of her letting that go is much less.
Right. Totally. Absolutely.
Yeah. I got to think, AJ, that hamburger situation is a metaphor for so many. It's probably one of the reasons you're employed, frankly. Probably one of the reasons people come knock on your door going, he didn't take the laundry out, or he didn't pick up this, or he didn't do this, or she didn't do that.
Totally.
And what you're also saying, AJ, I think what you're saying is that the ability to, maybe my choice of words, learning how to fight and learning how to come back from a fight, right?
Yeah.
And is it as simple as saying, AJ, getting the reps in? And I know it's oversimplifying it, but if you don't have time to get the reps in, you're not going to have time to learn how to fight, learn how to get over the fight, learn how to repair, and learn how to come back together.
Right. Yeah. Because the fights, the arguments, the disagreements, they're going to happen for sure.
Yes.
It is actually, I would say that having disagreements from time to time is almost an essential part of a healthy relationship.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And it's great. I love that me and Melissa don't think the same way about every single thing in our life.
Yes.
I love that we can have bold differencing opinions on certain topics. I love that we have a different perspective on certain things. I love that, right? I don't want to be married to myself, right? I love that she's her own individual person with her own thoughts and feelings and way of seeing the world. And recognizing that helps make me a better person, right? I have an opportunity now to not only see the whole world through my lens, but I could also see it through her lens because we're so close. And if I'm open to learning and growing, I could also see things how she sees things, and I can learn from her experiences too and stuff, right?
Yes.
So having those differences is essential, right? And
because it creates connection, doesn't it? Because emotion creates connection. If you're not maybe being intimate in the bedroom or going through a dry spell, the intimacy through conversation or through a disagreement, ultimately, if there's a foundation of love, it's going to bring you closer together.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
No, not at all. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. That it's I mean, it gives us an opportunity, right?
Yes.
And then like anything else in life, once that opportunity exists, it's probably going to come down to our effort.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that effort, if we put it into the things that are under our scope of control, that we directly control and have influence over, we're going to get more positive outcomes of it. I have direct control when Melissa talks to me. I have direct control how actively I'm listening to her. That's within my control.
Yes.
That's an effort thing.
Yes.
That's an effort thing,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yep.
So, and like that makes such a huge difference, right? Like, are you listening? Did you hear what I said? And I'm not perfect in it. Dude, there's plenty of times where I'm sitting there after being like, oh my God, what the fuck did she just say?
And
Like, how am I not present in this conversation right now?
Yeah.
I know better, right? And then I'm like, okay, I got to be present. That's an effort thing, man. I know even if I'm tired or it's a long day, like I got to come with my effort, control the things that I can control on my side. And if I do that, we got a great chance of positive outcomes, right?
Wow. So this conversation is exceptional. We got a lot of commentary happening in the commentary. AJ, I know you got to roll. Do you got time for a couple more minutes? Just a couple more minutes?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I want to stay on the hamburger. Sorry, I want to stay here because Lauren comes up with a question. He comes back and says, AJ could have asked the question of Melissa, would you like me to do something with this hamburger meat?
Yeah.
So is that on you for perhaps not having the effort listening? And is that you in that situation going, well, no, Melissa should have been more clear? Like, because I'm going here because is Melissa going, well, he should have just asked me. And you're saying, well, no, she should have told me.
Right. Yeah.
Is both you are right and both you are wrong? Am I correct with that?
100% correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when you come to that realization, then you just start being like, okay, well, how do we repair and come back from this? Right.
Yeah.
Like,
yes,
we both could have. And if you're able to have that conversation with each other and you have that courage to honestly communicate with each other about that stuff.
Yes.
Not only do you come back from that better, but the chance of that occurring again in the future are probably less, because the next time she calls and asks me to take out the hamburger meat, I'm probably going to be thinking like, oh yeah, I'm going to follow up and ask her, hey, do you want me to take it out? Do you want me to do something with it?
Right.
And likewise, she's probably going to be thinking like, oh, this time I'll maybe be a little more specific and I won't assume he knows what I'm talking about. And so really, like, it's not about just one person improving in that situation, but you both are, right? You're
100%.
Yeah.
And when we control the only thing we can, which is ourselves, we create a nice platform for this growth.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like the thing that I just have myself so keyed in on in any sort of, I guess, communication is I have complete control over A, my involvement, and B, how do I actually respond to this? Am I reacting or am I responding? It's like when we're reactive, generally speaking, we're creating a unbalanced platform to work this problem through. Yes. Versus when we hear someone, and we respond in a way that is, sometimes you don't always speak right away, but bottom line is when we react, usually that rocks the boat. Now, having, circling back to a situation where the boat has been rocked, that's always harder than a situation where it hasn't.
Yeah. It's so true. And, I love that Rick Cody comes in and says the hardest thing for any human being to do is be a human, especially when we're in a relationship with somebody else. Right. And we'll wrap up the segment around communication. Cause I had a kick in the ass last week and I put myself out there on this show. My wife's listening right now. We had a disagreement last week and as it ended, I got a wonderful text from her, and the text was essentially this, which was, hey, Mr. Communicator, go look in your own mirror. I was like, oh, fuck, yeah, you're right.
Right, yeah.
It was one of and I'm proud to say that because I did look in the mirror and I was like, yeah, and I left a note the next morning saying, I'm sorry, I looked in my own mirror. I owned it. I reacted instead of responded. John and I talked about it. I was human in the moment, but I communicated it, and I was in the wrong. And I'm like, yeah, I'll go look in the mirror because if I'm going to get on the show and talk to men about the conversations we're having, I need to be able to go look in the mirror and recognize when we're at fault or when we're wrong. Right.
And when we can keep a tight grip on that, if we can not react and respond, basically fights become disagreements, and it's okay to have disagreements. Right. What I try to stay away from is the fight because that's this emotional reaction back and forth that does nothing.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And so, again, I have a goal because I feel like I've got such a good grip in the last probably 18 months responding rather than reacting, just about everything in my life. But with Terry, it's always the hardest for the kids
Yes.
because they love them so much. It's easy to get emotional. But I feel like, I mean, I've got such a good grip on how I behave.
Yes.
It translates into Terry and I. We haven't had, like, normally we have a couple of barn burners leading up to the holidays every year.
Yes.
It's like, God damn it. You know, you can like this year, you could feel the energy coming, like, fuck, this shit is building up. Right. And
Yes.
there was a couple fucking big triggers. And I was like, and I just kept responding.
Yes.
And we didn't have it this year.
Good for you. Yeah. Good for you. Good for you to have that awareness. Hey, AJ, good to catch that awareness in the moment, Johnny. Right. Well, right.
And,
hey.
Oh yeah, sorry. And I said the other thing that you mentioned there is with the kids. And a lot of times when we talk about relationships and marriages, there is a very high percentage of them where kids are involved, and kids feel that energy, and kids see those either reactions or responses, right? And so not only are we strengthening our own relationship, we're also leading by example, right? Because no matter what we tell our kids, like we've talked about before, our kids are more likely to follow what they see rather than what they hear. So if we, you know, if we're sitting here as a man and we're telling our son, hey, this is how you should treat a woman, and this is how you should, you know, and make sure you're respectful and make sure you do this. But then your son witnesses your relationship with your wife and his mother, and you're just bickering at each other, and there's no listening, there's no empathy, there's no support, there's no repairing from like arguments and disagreements, and they don't see that side of it. Then you know, then they're not going to believe what you're saying. But if they get to witness that and see those actions, right? Like it's important if we get in a little disagreement, and let's say Boston's in the kitchen with us. It's also, and he sees that. I think it's equally as important for him to see, for me to walk out or whatever, and then come back in the kitchen and to see me apologize or be empathetic or be, like you said, Keith, where you're like, hey, I owned it. I didn't communicate well there. It's important for him to see that if he's going to see the little disagreement too, right? So it's not like, oh, we had a little disagreement, now let's go hide kind of behind closed doors, and now we have a makeup, and then they miss that part, right?
It's
like
important to apologize to our kids too in those moments, is it not, AJ? Like I know there's been times where I've had a disagreement with Lauren. I've walked over to one of the kids and said, I'm sorry you had to see that. I'm sorry you had to be a part of that. You know, that's important as well, AJ. No, am I wrong?
Yeah, well, I mean, it just shows a great
amount of respect,
awareness, right? That we realize that our relationships are bigger than just us, and that they affect all the people around us as well, especially when you're looking within the family unit, right? But yeah, and I think it's part of that. Then they get to see the repair then, right? So they get to see you maybe owning your mistake, or maybe
learn behavior, man.
I'm sorry,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, learn behavior. And then they get to see you go to Lauren and what, you know what I mean? Or Lauren come to you and you guys talk through and hug it out, or have a kiss, or make a joke and laugh together, or do whatever. And then they're just like, oh, okay, that's how you come back from an argument or a disagreement. Like that's the repair. And they get to actually see it in action as well, right?
Yeah. Hey, you're hanging with Keith John. You're hanging with Keith John and Rick. I see Rick Clody's name here. Rick Clody this morning on Mornings in Lab, as well as our good buddy John Anderson. AJ, what a great conversation, John. AJ, what a great conversation this morning. We went very much in overtime. We got a lot of comments coming in, and I'll leave the last word to Lauren, AJ, and Johnny.
Yeah,
let's put it up on the screen, boys.
No, I'm always right.
and that's how it works with our wives. And AJ and John, yes, Lauren is always right. Baby,
we know I combat that with. I say to Terry, I say this jokingly. I say, listen, just hurry up and agree with me so I can give you what you want.
You know what I've hated though? Maybe we bring this conversation up in the future, boys. I've hated learning how to fight. I don't like confrontation to start with, right?
It fucks my stomach up, man.
Yes. And maybe that's something we can talk about in the future, because I hate learning how, because it is a learned behavior, isn't it, AJ? It's a learned way to communicate, to have a difficult conversation, calling it fighting. But this is, I hate it, AJ. You know what I'm trying to say, AJ?
What do you do?
Totally. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, duh. But
it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So, and
And I just
oh yeah, sorry, go ahead.
before we wrap up with AJ and Nation, you guys all know this, but I just feel like I need to say it again because we are in a conversation about missing ingredients for lasting relationships. Guys, you all know or maybe don't know, but this man here, AJ Zegman, was there for me as I went through my divorce, right? And Johnny, I've told you this a little bit, but AJ was the guy that was there for me on my journey. He was there at the gym with me at 4, 5, 6 a.m. on Sundays, whatever, and he just listened to me. He listened to me talk, and that's the kind of brotherhood friendships we need, and that's what this man means to me. Is that I went through my shit. This guy here was standing next to me, so I appreciate for that, AJ. That's awesome. And Lauren, you're right. That's why we work, right? We work and we like to communicate and keep always coming back from it. AJ, just wrap it up, pal. What do you got going on today? What are you doing for Valentine's Day tomorrow, brother? You've been married for 500 years. Do you take it for granted? Do you make assumptions, or are you making it special?
Well, man, you're putting me on the spot now. And now I got to make up something really grand here. And yeah, no, we're just, you know what, we have the opportunity tomorrow just to spend a little bit of time together, which doesn't happen a lot in our schedules.
Yes.
You know, yes. Yeah. So it's great. Just my schedule allows for it tomorrow, so we can have an afternoon together. Kids are still in school doing their thing, and it's just the two of us. So it's so that's always pretty nice. We really kind of value that time, right? When you just get a little bit of time, just being alone.
That's awesome. Buddy, I appreciate you, man. I really appreciated the conversation today. I appreciated the value you brought to the table. I can see the comments here. A lot of people really engage with this as well. And I really like how Lauren wraps it up too, right? AJ, I think you're going to like this. Nobody likes anything that challenges your ego. And when we're in a fight with our partner, what's happening is our ego is being questioned, right? And nobody likes that, right? So that's a good one. Mr. Seglin, love you, brother. Great chat here today. You're always bringing it. Johnny, final words for AJ?
As always, brother, good shit, man. It always prompts really, really helpful conversation, and that's what this show's about.
It's exactly.
Thanks. Yeah, I love it. Hey, where's C Marty today?
C Marty's making snowmen in Maryland here today. They had a big snow dump. I'm always joking with him because he's like, Billis, I'm not making fucking snowman. But they had a big snow dump, and there's been some challenges. I think there's some challenges. Well, AJ, you know, it's staff. I got a call from him a couple days ago saying, I'm here closing up because no staff has shown up. And you're like, yeah I can relate to that. So yeah,
totally.
Marty's out doing some important things. He's running the business there, so he'll be around on tomorrow.
Yeah, awesome. I miss him.
Yes, I know. So do we. Get after it, Zeglin. We'll talk to you a little later, okay, pal? All right.
Have a great day, brother.
AJ's out of here. John's gonna go for a pee. I can see him wiggling there. You get out of here for a pee, Johnny. We'll work towards wrapping up the show with you, okay, pal? All right. John's gonna get out of here. Wow, baby. Reset an hour or two here. Mornings and Live with Keith and Friends. You hear the bagpipes? Yes, baby. You guys haven't seen me dance in a while. I think I'm gonna put this camera on here. This one just shows me. Can you guys hear that? Oh, I'm happy today. Yes. All right. I'm your host. I'm Keith Billis, host of Mornings and Live with Keith and Friends. I'm the wingnut doing the Highland dance here with you guys this morning. AJ just left the show here. We talked about the missing ingredient for lasting relationships. And the key, boys, you got to talk. You got to communicate. Don't be afraid to have disagreements. Don't be afraid to fight. Work towards coming back to the middle there on the foundation and power of communication. We talked about, we kicked the show off, boys, with you might want to spend some time on the bidet instead of with toilet paper. An anal surgeon has come out to say that, toilet paper is wrecking our buttholes, gentlemen, and highly encouraging us to use the bidet. So that might be something you guys might want to drop. And listen, working on some changes here behind the scenes in the show. Guys, we're looking to launch a paid service in the Substack. You're like, what? Yes, we are, guys. A lot of behind the scenes things happening here on the show, and we're teaching people how to do this show from behind the scenes. And folks are curious about how they can start their own conversation. So we're more than likely going to be launching a paid service on the Substack platform, giving you guys behind the scenes access to me, John, Marty, access to exclusive content. Guys, we can't keep working for free. This morning show is free for all of you guys. Love helping you guys join and build this community with me. I love the engagement coming in here. But as we know, we're building a business here. So stay tuned for more information regarding our behind the scenes Substack. that's we're going to launch here for you guys, teaching us what's going on, access to special things, access to AJ, Jory, John, Keith, Marty, access to just exclusive special content. And yeah, we're charging you $1,000 a month. Yeah, true story. All joking aside. No, we're not charging you $1,000 a month. We're only charging you, maybe we'll charge you a couple $100 a month. I don't know. What's the value? What's the value of getting special time with Mr. Billis or Mr. Anderson or Mr. Marty? And and Shinku, dude, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate all the content you hang out with us. I love all of your conversation coming in with us. Every single one of you that chooses to spend time with us every single morning is I'm more than grateful. I got some big news that I want to drop here this morning as well. I know Johnny doesn't know this. Johnny gets his news from Uncle Keith over here. But Johnny, yesterday, and fuck man, I knew this was going to happen. I love when I know things are happening and it happens. I know it sounds so egotistical, but I don't care. So yesterday, news broke that Netflix is getting into video podcasting. What is this? It's a video podcast, but it's a live one. So Netflix, let's just look at the journey of Netflix, Johnny. Netflix started with on-demand DVDs, right? And they all got addicted to them. They launched their binge shows, right? You could binge everything, and now they've launched into live programming. So now they're looking to complement their live programming with, I'm suspecting, morning and evening content. So don't kid yourself. Old Uncle Keith here is knocking on the Netflix executive doors saying, hey, there's a morning show over here that if you guys want a morning show for men, we got a wonderful, wonderful platform for you guys. So I'm intrigued by that because you are continuing to see the demise of linear TV, which with you and I grew up with, and moving all to streaming. But all they're doing, Johnny, is replicating what was yesterday, right? Instead of it being broadcast on the transmitter, it's being broadcast streaming. So I can assure you, there's going to be days we're going to wake up and Netflix is going to have a live morning show, a live evening show, and these live programming events. And you know what, pal? We've been ahead of the game for the last year and a half. So, and every single day, you know what we're learning here, how to produce a live show, the equipment, the timing, all this that goes in. Dude, I love the fact that we are so far ahead than others, right? That are still recording stuff. So I was excited by that news yesterday because that's cultural news. That just shows the emphasis around what we're doing here, and it shows the emphasis around live conversation. And you have to look no further than today's show, Johnny. Like all the chatter going on since the beginning of the show has been a nonstop conversation happening here, pal. It's been awesome. So
100%. You know, it's you know, as we talked about before, it's like everything kind of recycles itself. Bell-bottom jeans come back into style. Well, you know, we went into this, you know, it's like media is recycling itself, just obviously with technology.
That's exactly it. And Shinku, you're right, man. I'm not going to stop swimming until we reach land. We got a lot of work to do, Shinku, and I appreciate you you hanging out in the boat with us as we're going down the journey. So, Johnny, I know we're going to get out of here. You're going to get out of here in a couple minutes. I got Jeremy Lastman coming up at 8:30 in the Community Corner to help wrap up that segment of the show. What do you got going on the agenda today? I know you're not getting much of a lift in because you're sore. Are you biking? What's happening today in your world, pal?
Well, thank goodness today was a planned day off to begin with, but you know, my shoulders definitely got me a little limited. So it's almost like everything lined up just perfectly for me.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm going to take, I'm going to use, today was a day off. So I'm going to use this time to, I don't know if, I can't say that we'll call it Valentine's Day, but definitely it'll be some really good connecting with Terry and I later today, because I've got extra time in my day.
Nice. Hey, Jeremy Lastman, I see you there in the horizontal. I want to get you on the vertical feed as well there, Jeremy. Johnny, I'm going to make a big, bold statement here. The worst body part we can injure is our shoulder because it impacts so much of our entire body and all of our movements. Am I wrong?
Like, you know, it's you don't quite realize, you know, like it's like, for example, like this left arm, I'm picking it up with my right arm because it hurts like a son of a bitch. It's all it is just a strain, but it's basically that the bicep tendon is swollen, which is then pushing on the nerve. So my whole arm is like fucking burning, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
And the more that I, you know, try to use it, the more it inflames, the worse it gets. So I just have to kind of just let it hang here for the day. And, you know, but you don't realize how much you use it until you can't.
That's what
thank God it's my left hand.
Well, Yeah, and thank God Terry's around tomorrow for Valentine's Day, brother. But I'll tell you,
Well, actually, I worked on becoming ambidextrous years ago. And one of the things that I did was I learned to fucking do it to empty the clip with my left hand. So I can do it both sides.
if we empty the clip with the opposite hand, it's like somebody else is doing it for us. It's just a whole different pleasure experience.
Well, at very first it's different, but I'll tell you the coordination that you will get from learning to do it with the other hand, unbelievable.
I could not agree more with you, man. So, gentlemen,
unbelievable.
There's the hack for this morning as we wrap the show up. Learn how to be a switch hitter. Learn how to be ambidextrous. Learn how to complete the task with the other hand,
dude. And like if you were to see, this is a weird statement, but if you were to see me fucking jerking off, you'd think that I was left-handed because I'm good. But then you see me throwing a baseball, you realize I'm right-handed.
We need Rich Ingram on for this conversation.
I love it. I love it.
God, but I'm telling you, the shoulder, like if I sleep wrong on my shoulder, Johnny, and I get up and it's bummed, I can't get over how much my entire body.
And that's right. And I don't know if you can hear, I'm a little off today because my sleep was I almost didn't sleep last night. It was like I could not find a comfortable spot. I mean, of course I slept, but not that through the night sleep. I was awake a good chunk of the night because it was like I just couldn't find a comfortable spot. So I will say my nap is going to be extended today for sure. But let that be the lesson. We don't, just because we don't sleep well doesn't mean that we shut the day down. We just keep on going.
That's exactly right. Rick Cody coming in saying my cousin's shoulder got injured. She had to wipe her ass with the left hand. Well, that's the other thing, Rick, is that when our arms or shoulders get all messed up, the other things we need to do become a little more difficult as well. And as we learned in the beginning of the show, Rick, we shouldn't be wiping the ass. We should be using the bidet. We had an anal doctor drop some news this morning that men should be using bidets because toilet paper is wrecking our buttholes, man.
And men, let me say, this is really helpful. If you need to wipe your ass with both sides because you're basically getting your thoracic twist work.
Yes,
right. If you do it, I swear to God, I wipe my ass with my right hand too long. All of a sudden, I can't get down there with the left hand. And keep in mind, I don't really wipe. I just blot to get the water off.
Yes, Jeremy Lastman, this is the show you're coming into as John's leaving, and we're going to reset Jeremy's segment on the show.
The movements, the way that we move in our lives makes a big difference. All the way down to wiping your ass with both hands or learning to empty the clip with both hands.
The way we do one thing is the way we do everything.
That's it. That's it.
I love you, man. Great show today. You have a good one. Take care of your shoulder, take care of your arm, and take care of your
Have a good loop, my brother.
We'll see you later. Jimmy, let's get this guy off stage. And before you bring up Jeremy, I'm going to reset here, Jimmy. Oh, my God. What a wonderful show, guys. I hope you have much fun here today as I am having. Man, it's how you do one thing is how you do everything, unless you got a bum shoulder. Yeah, true. And Rick, learning to be an ambi-ass wipe, the things Rick, I'm telling you, man, we drop nuggets here on the show every single day. You will not find these conversations anywhere else, and we all know that. All right, Jim, listen to the sounds, Jimmy. Listen to the sounds, Jimmy. You know what that means, Jim? It means that we're welcoming in our guests, and before you do it, I'm going to introduce him. Jeremy Lastman, hanging out in the green room over there, the horizontal room, the vertical room, going, what the hell am I getting myself into? Yeah. Well, we sell Jeremy. Yeah, Get the words out, Mr. Billis. Get the words out, Uncle Keith. Yeah. So we celebrated Jeremy a little while back. Yeah. Rick, stop, man. Just stop. We celebrated Jeremy a while back, and we got Jeremy on the show today. He's going to celebrate somebody for our Community Corner Creator Spotlight. But Jeremy Lastman has just rewired how we think about passion. And hey, the night before Valentine's, we got the right guy on the show. Yeah, not a luxury. Nope, not luck. Nope, a power source. He showed us how to tap into it, how to unlock creativity, energy, and real human potential. Men, if you feel stuck in burnout or just going through the motions, you need to follow Jeremy Lastman. You can find him on LinkedIn. This guy isn't talking about the future, baby. Oh, no. He's building it. Jimmy, let's get after without further ado. Let's bring our friend Jeremy Lassman into the show this morning. What's going on, Mr. Lassman? How are you, pal?
Hey, Keith.
Hey!
Glad to be here.
I love your setup, man. Look at you with the green lights behind you and everything, man. Fuck,
I figured I'd match your green. I got the hue light as well, so let's see it.
You are getting after it, brother. How are you, pal? Welcome to the lab. We celebrated you a couple weeks back, and even before that, you had no idea what the hell was going on. We celebrated you, like, what's going on? Now you're here. First impressions of the experience so far, Mr. Lassman, watching from the green room.
Incredible. I mean, we got the horizontal, we got the vertical. I'm sure you're on all the platforms.
We are, yeah.
It's bright and early in the day over here in California, just getting my day going.
I know.
And I'll talk about that the other day, waking up to that celebration. You doing the spotlight on me was a surprise.
Awesome. Well, then that worked. Then that's the whole point of it. That's what worked, right? We were having some great success with the Creator Spotlight. We're building a business on the LinkedIn platform and Substack, the platforms. And
beautiful idea.
There's such great human beings out there that we just don't find time to celebrate or talk about, right? And I got to be honest, we stumbled upon this Creator Spotlight. We kind of fell upon it, Jeremy, and it's taken a life of its own on, and I love it. It's a great way to get back to the community. It's a great way to get people involved, great people get people engaged, and come across a guy like yourself. You're like, holy smoke, this guy's doing some great stuff. Let's celebrate it. So Jeremy, for those that are just tuning in, take a quick minute. Who's Jeremy Lassman? What do you do for a living? What kind of impact do you make on the world? Who is Jeremy Lassman?
Well, I most notably, I'm a former SpaceX technologist. I used to work for SpaceX back when it was more of the startup days.
Yes.
I was a lone wolf, only child, kind of. I was very neurotic, I guess I could say. Very in my head, big picture thinker, and very much struggled with not only picking what ideas to focus on and the perfectionism to do it, but struggled to get my ideas out in a communication sense. I almost spoke my own language and had this frustration of how to express my ideas or what my vision was, and I mean, it's taken about 10 years of R&D to get to where we are today with the Passion Company, where we are succinctly, bringing this invention to life that I've been working on, and it's here. It's really exciting.
So it's funny. I was doing an interview last night with a young lady who was asking me questions about my business and asking me about being an interviewer. And she's like, so do you just ask questions one after the other, or do you have a conversation? I'm like, no, you need to have a conversation because you got to think of what the audience wants to hear. Now, the audience I know tuning in is going to want me to ask this one question. You worked at SpaceX. Did you work with Elon? Did you meet Elon? Did you hang out with Elon? Is he as crazy as, and I'm using the word crazy in quotes. I have a Tesla Roadster. I funded Tesla. If I didn't buy the Roadster, there's no Tesla today. So you can see where I'm coming from. So if there was no early adopters buying the Roadsters, there's no Tesla. So
early adopter. Yep.
What was it like working with Musk? And dude, I got to get you back for Live in the Lab Talk SpaceX. Like, fuck, man.
Let's do it.
What was that like, man?
So,
honest to God.
I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm not like the engineer or anything like that.
Jimmy, get him off the stage. I thought he was a rocket scientist, but he's not.
Scientist in a different dimension.
There you go. Yeah.
And I literally, so my dad wasn't a designer engineer. He got my foot in the door. And I literally had this opportunity right out of high school, sort of the last year of high school. So I had no experience at all. And so the CIO at the time, Brandon Spikes, saw my potential, like I was like him. I was a fast learner. He always said like school of hard knocks, like not book trained, but just life trained. And so he saw kind of that like shared passion for technology, and that he could just give me things that I can learn on the go, and he could trust that I could just get things done that he would give me. And just more and more responsibilities as we went. I was in the IT department and setting up servers, doing help desk,
Yeah.
just general, tech stuff. And then as we grew, we moved offices. I got in charge of more and more projects, and then the flight 4 was our first successful launch, and I was switching the cameras. I was doing the
Yeah.
video production feed, and then afterwards, to celebrate, I got to work with Elon on a music video
Cool.
to commemorate the launch. And so that was one of the first times that I got to actually,
Yeah.
get feedback from him, work with him, ask, see
Yes.
what he needed to change. And it was an electric atmosphere. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better experience of the atmosphere of the vibe of the innovation. I mean, where the mission and the vision are so big that it's not just about the work you're doing. It's kind of about what you're building in just the impossible things that I got to see. All the doubt was a lot quieter back then,
Of course.
and I would, go to lunch with my dad's coworkers, the older guys that were like, kind of like, we're here, but these things are pretty impossible that he wants to do, but he seems to, think that he could do it, so we're going to do it. And I got to see each one of those check marks of, can he really land rockets back on Earth? Can he really do, like,
Yes.
check,
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
over time? I'm like,
I
okay,
know.
well, you can't doubt Elon. Like,
It's we'll leave all the politics over there and we'll stay focused on the invention, we'll stay focused on the innovation, and stay focused on the and just like you said, those check boxes, because
yeah.
I would have watched that video you created, because I'm a SpaceX nerd. I wrote letters to NASA as a kid growing up, right?
Yeah.
So when I learned of Elon's mission to go to Mars, like my blood gets excited. Like, take me to SpaceX. Like, I just want to hang out there because make my name curious. I love being curious, right?
Yeah.
But let's not spend too much time on SpaceX. I want to spend more
Save it
time
for the
on
show.
you with the
Yeah.
Passion Company. So talk to me about how you ended up there. But first of all, what is the Passion Company for somebody first hearing, well, Jeremy Lassman's the Passion Company?
At heart, you can look at us like a wellness provider.
Okay.
I don't know about you. I'm obsessed with wellness.
Yes.
It is the amount of attention that I give my inner state, my state of being, my wellness. Determined. It's what fuels us. It's what makes us feel alive.
Yes.
When we get down to what the Passion Company is all about, and that's the passion. And so, from a wellness provider at heart, now we can get into the big vision, and that is that we are Earth's first passion utility provider. We don't see passion as a luxury. We don't see passion sort of as just a crazy emotion, but we see passion as a fundamental human need on par with water, gas, electricity, food, a resource that through our research, I don't know about you, but we see passion as what distinguishes animals from machines.
Yes.
It's what makes us human. It's
yes.
I don't want to get too spiritual, but it is, I feel, what connects me to soul and all the bigger parts of myself that are bigger than just me as a body. And by seeing it as a fuel and treating it like a fuel, we're bringing this invention that I've made, this new operating system, to clean it and to supply the cleanest passion energy for your wellness, and to accelerate your conscious evolution.
So somebody listening right now is not hearing passion from the perspective of like love and intimacy passion. You're talking about the fuel that is the passion inside of us as a human being. the reason we get out of bed for not hitting the snooze button, the reason we get up and have some energy with our conversation right now, because I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And you can see my passion. I can see your passion. It's the fuel that connects our conversation. That is what you're saying is passion. Am I correct?
Yes, the raw. I mean, it's volatile. That's why I don't think it's ever
Yes.
been studied the way we are.
Yes.
And it is more in the quantum. It's not locatable. The best kind of location or to get to that like volatile place
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
that it is a raw, it is a singular energy. It is not like a duality, right? You can be passionate in anger as much as you're passionate
Of
in
course.
joy.
Yes.
So it's not a binary in that sense. But it is as close to that raw creative and yes,
Yes.
sexual energy, but before it splits. And
Yes.
it's right there, in terms of what allows us as human beings to direct our inner power.
Yeah. You're speaking. You're speaking about passion. It sounds like in a way that is the next level of emotion.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
taking emotion to a different space. It's and I don't want to. I don't know if I even want to use the word redefining it. Because I think we could agree passion is somewhat of, it's perhaps could be considered obtuse, but what you're saying is you've really defined it and use research. Talk to me about how you've put research behind passion and what was the question, what was the hypothesis, and what were you solving?
Oof. Well, I mean, if I'm going way back, it is. I mean, I'm solving my own suffering. I'm solving my own negative worldview, I would call it,
Okay.
because, like I said, neurotic. So everything to the nth degree of anxiety, of
Yes.
the triple threat of neurotic, I call it, is
Yes.
skeptic, pessimist, and cynic.
Oh
That's
yeah.
the cocktail,
Yes.
of when
Yes.
that intelligence is taking that passion with all that fear and negativity, and it's creating a you talked about burnout. Of just a dark, negative worldview, and a low self-esteem, and a lack of confidence. That at first I was looking at it like, okay, how can I fix everything that I feel broken about myself? But the big thing was like, I, on one hand, didn't feel like I knew what my passion was, uh, but on the other hand, I would later like realize that it was like I was multi-passionate. I couldn't just pick one thing and kind of focus on it in a consistent way, and I felt like, because that was what you were supposed to do,
Yeah.
pick one career for the rest of your life and
Yes.
do that. I had a rebellion against that, first off, but then when the rubber met the road, it's like, but then I don't know what passion is, because I get really, crazy about an idea and focus on it for a little, then I would lose interest in it, and I just couldn't have that consistency, very wavy.
Yeah.
And then I read a book called Refuse to Choose, which kind of like backed up my rebellion, that no, you don't have to pick one thing. You can let it just get obsessed about something and then move on. And,
It's the and instead of the or, right? It's accepting that, oh, you mean I can have and instead of or, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So then I got to this place where, well, I guess a lot of time passed, but I started to look at that passion and start to see a bigger picture of, not only is it an emotion, but in bringing this invention to life,
Yes.
of imagination technology, and we'll get there, but like, I'm looking at the body, mind, spirit, soul, or I call it quantum self, not as like, okay, they're all separate. We're going to keep them siloed, individually, as their own things. But what happens when you bring it all together? When you're not just the body, when you see the mind distinct from the body, and the higher aspects of yourself are allowed to play. I started to see, oh, passion is kind of like running through it all.
Yes.
It's what's allowing the ideas to come down to my mind to be translated through my mouth. It's what is allowing me to have a conversation with you here in virtual 3D reality, and
Yes.
go back up and try to get my memories for storytelling here. And I started to see the fuel aspect of it, but not necessarily know how to express everything that I'm expressing, which brought about this invention, the need for, I need a new operating system, because it's getting clunked up. The tech metaphor is like bottleneck,
Yeah.
bugs, crashing. It was all the overthinking and all the chaos of my inner climate was interfering. All the negativity was interfering with my confidence to have like share my vision. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day,
Yeah. So you created an operating system, is what you essentially created, and you call it the
yes,
passion operating system. Am I correct?
imagination technology.
Imagination technology. Yeah.
Yes,
So,
it is the first challenger to survival of the fittest.
expand on that.
Okay, so we're gonna look at the field of evolution right now,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And I guess we're more science speaking here, because when we look at evolution, we know that natural selection is like the dominant way that a species evolves over time, and that is like random mutation.
Yes.
Millions of years that has been running the show unchallenged, and it has just gotten more and more neurotic, stress, anxiety, everything that's rampant in
Yes.
mental health nowadays, because we're taking this antiquated way of survival mode, competition, threat, fear as the fuel, and we're running it through this really intelligent uh, body mind that we have here, and it's getting stuck, it's getting hampered, it's not running optimally. It's
Yeah.
like, if we were to still use Windows 95 today, it would be slow as hell and
Yes.
crash. That's what humans are experiencing nowadays, and that's what I was experiencing, to see that, okay, there has to be a better way. Let's bring some innovation to the space, because not only are we not only do we not need to be ran by a randomized mutation, and long evolution, we have technology now. We're evolving way faster than we used to, with how long evolution can take.
Yes.
So I studied that from a perspective of what happens when we get first principles to this, and we get to the fundamental understanding of, okay, what is the counterculture? Well, what is the opportunity really? And that is from a personal development, a wellness, a self-improvement space. Well, we're not just random anymore. The opportunity for us as a species is conscious evolution,
Yes.
that we can better ourselves, that we can improve, that's actually taking more of a creative agency to what we can do with our evolution, by getting the pen versus it being random. That's what I call conscious evolution. And so I worked with that, and from the ground up looked at, okay, how can we challenge natural selection with conscious evolution and design an operating system that's better than survival of the fittest, because it's not using fear as the fuel, it's actually cleaning the fear so that it's
Using the opposite.
passion and
Yeah.
love and a cleaner energy way of being.
research is suggesting, some recent research is suggesting that we might be in a simulation.
Mhm.
Where does your point of view land on this, Jeremy? This is interesting shit, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, everything is possible from
Yes.
as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
And
Humans aren't ready to wrap their head around that concept. And that to me is the biggest thing, right? There's
Yeah.
guys like you and I that are curious, that have, brains that are out there. The guys like Elon, like our brains are way out there. Like, we're not
Yeah.
going to Mars. No, we are going to go to Mars. You're not going to catch a
Mhm.
rocket ship. Yeah, I'm going to catch a rocket ship. No, we're not in a
Mhm.
simulation. No, we might be. Oh, never thought about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Because it challenges everything that we were taught to believe.
exactly.
It's scary.
It is. It's scary because it blows the old world
Yes.
view.
Yes.
Especially from a survival of the fittest perspective,
Yes.
the old scarcity
Yes.
worldview, the old worldview that was fueled by a like competition for resources, a separation, a us versus them mentality.
Yes.
So it I, it's weird because I'm not as scared of it because I've always looked at from a metaphorical perspective, like my mind is like a computer. In the
Yes.
early days of like when I was like like trying to understand like my own emotions and to have emotions rather than suppress them and hide myself and all of that stuff, I almost felt like I was a robot learning
Well,
how to have emotions.
and it's because our minds are computers. And I
Mhm.
listened to a fascinating podcast with Lex Friedman and Elon when they talk about Neuralink and how some of the advances they're having there, and how some of the early stage humans that are using it, how they're if we think of computers as processing bits of information, right?
Yeah.
And how Neuralink is creating humans to process bits of information faster than what a normal human can process information.
Yep.
Right? So we are computers, right? And
Mhm.
people aren't ready to think about that we're just Westworld, that there's some
Mhm.
person somewhere else just controlling us in some game, right?
Mm.
It's listen, we could go on this forever, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop it right here. I want to keep our
All right.
conversation moving towards the career spot. I do want to have you back because this is awesome, man. I
Let's set
love
it
it.
up.
I
Yeah.
love this kind of conversation. I love the conversation. I love first principles thinking. I had this conversation last night with somebody who was like, "What's that all mean?" I'm like, "Oh, it's taking something that we know and blowing it all up and starting from scratch." And she looks at me like,
Blank
"Really?"
slate.
I'm like, "Yeah." I go, "You have to eliminate every assumption, eliminate every endpoint, eliminate every starting point, and start with a blank piece of paper." And she kept trying to
My
get
favorite.
to, yeah, but what? Yeah, but I mean, no, yeah, but. And I love going into with customers or vendors, Jeremy, and asking somebody, for example, the pizza. I'll use a pizza metaphor. You go to a restaurant and they're going to make you pizza. Well, they're going to make you a pizza the same way they made the pizza for every other customer. I like to ask the question, make me the pizza from first principles approach. Oh, what do you mean? Pretend you've never made a pizza before. What does it look like? What does it smell like? What's it taste like? Most companies and businesses aren't prepared for that question because they're only going to give you what they've always done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I love the idea of first principles because in my previous business, it challenges our colleagues. It challenges people to think, oh, because I don't think enough leaders. That's why I respect many of the stuff that Elon talked about. I don't think enough leaders encourage us as humans to think that way because we're so naturally inclined to accept how it was done, how it's always been done, and just assuming that that's how it's always going to be done. It's not the right way to look at it. Hence, let's catch the rocket ship with some chopsticks. Oh, I never even thought about that. Right? Like, really?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So,
exactly.
Anyways, Jared, listen, let's get to the creative spotlight, my friend. We did not get a name from you. Do you have a name you want to drop on here for us today that you want to celebrate somebody for the creative spotlight, or are we just here to talk about Keith and Jeremy today?
Oh man, I missed that part.
That's okay. That's okay. That is absolutely okay. That is absolutely okay. Do you have somebody top of mind that you want to that you've been working with that you've been? I'm going to put you on the spot, brother. Putting you on the spot, brother, because I know you're a smart motherfucker.
Yes.
Putting you on the spot. I know you might have somebody. And while you're doing that, Jimmy, we're going to go ahead.
Someone does come to mind, actually.
I bet somebody does come to mind.
Yeah, it's my friend Robert Alexander.
All right, let's do it. Hold on. Is that who we're going to celebrate today?
I would love to. Yeah.
Awesome. So Jimmy, let's do this, man. We're going to do this right now. I'm going to pull up. I'm going to get him onto LinkedIn. He's on LinkedIn, right?
Yes.
We are doing stuff we never do on the show, which is Robert Alexander.
He should be. Yeah, he is.
See here. Is he from Ventura, California?
Correct.
Yeah, there we go. All right, Jimmy, I got him up here, pal. I'm going to drop him into the feed for you, Jim, and we're gonna do this on the fly. This is why I love live conversation. This is why I love a live show, because it allows us to do, because this is the stuff that people freak out on. Again, I had an interview with a lady last night, and she's like, "You do this live?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like all the stutters. I'm like, "Yeah." All the mix-up. I'm like, "Oh yeah." She's like, "All of it." I'm like, "Oh yeah." Like, no, this is not recorded bullshit. Podcasts are yesterday's news.
You got a well-oiled machine here, man.
All about live shit here. Jimmy, let's do it, man. So today, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. Jimmy, are you ready, pal? Yeah, I see you got it up there. Today, we are here to celebrate with Jeremy Lastman in the Community Corner. Mornings in the Lab, the Creator Spotlight. Today, Jim, let's pull him up on stage. It is going to be... Yes, it's Robert Alexander. Hey, Robert. Robert, I'm looking at you, brother. You got your buddy Jeremy Lastman here on stage. We celebrated Jeremy a few weeks ago in the Creator Spotlight. I think, what the hell is the Creator Spotlight? Well, we got this morning show for men called Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. I'm the Keith guy in the title. Yeah, true story. All my friends are gone. That's why Jeremy's here. But anyways, we have Community Corner. We pop it up this time in the show, and we have a spotlight, the big old Mornings in the Lab spotlight. Can you see it? It's like this big, and we wrap and just make it bright. And then we find somebody on the platform, we shine it on them, and we celebrate them. We create content and celebrate them and invite them on the show. That's why Jeremy's here, because we celebrated Jeremy a couple weeks ago. So Jeremy is paying it forward, Robert, and celebrating you today. And then we're going to have you on the show to celebrate somebody in your orbit. So Jeremy Lastman, why did you choose to celebrate Robert Alexander today, who is an involved forward-moving brands related to music, wellness, lifestyle, design, tech, and community building? He's flourishing, never sounded so good. The time is now. He's all from Ventura, California. LifeRhythms.us. Why are we celebrating Robert here today, Jeremy?
Man, he's a good friend. He's a fellow, sensitive soul, just really in tune with energy, and he brings it to his craft of music. So on one hand, he makes awesome regular music that is electronic. It's a little spiritual and he really into the frequencies. And then on the other hand, he makes this custom designed music for people that provides a healing and uses frequencies and taps into things that are very unique for ways of using music and releasing just overall and just an experience that you need to experience with him of what sound can do as an art form there.
I love that you said Robert's a sensitive soul. It's meaningful to me, because this show is for men that are comfortable with what you just said, that are comfortable with emotion, comfortable with expressing feelings. We talked about the Super Bowl, that the head coach cried after the Super Bowl. And I know I have a bunch of stoic men like, you don't cry. Dude, the guy just won the fucking Super Bowl. He had emotion. Let him cry. Yeah. Let him enjoy the moment. Like, it's okay to have emotion. So I love
so 1900s.
Right? Well, listen though, brother, you know as well as I do, there's still a lot of men, and there's there may be some toxic masculinity re-emerging in society. And my goal here is to continue wiping that aside and providing an alternative conversation space where we can talk about sensitive souls like Robert.
Yeah.
That to me is real masculinity. When you can be sensitive, you can have awareness, you can tap into energy. I know you're an energy kind of person as well. So this is, I'm really pleased we're celebrating Robert here. And Robert, we want to have you on the show, man. We want to have you on here to celebrate you and celebrate somebody in your orbit. Robert Alexander, come on, hang out with us, brother. That was good. That was good, Jeremy. I'm pleased with this Robert Alexander dude. We're going to get him on the show and hang out with us. So there you go. What do you got going on today, brother? You're just starting your day, man. It's 7:00. You've been up with me for a little bit. You're like, holy smokes, I got a whole day ahead of me. Are you in a relationship? Are you single? A relationship or
relationship? Yeah.
So tomorrow's Valentine's Day. I got to ask, man, are you ready for it? Or we had a big conversation today about the missing ingredient for lasting relationships. It's communication. What's going on in your world, pal, for the next 24 hours?
Oh
Not
man.
listening because she's sleeping right now, isn't she?
No, she's already off to work. No, yeah. Oh man, you're you're tapping into a very interesting side because, like I said, I'm a rebel at heart. I'm not really a conventional, and I don't really subscribe a holiday kind of. Uh,
Me too. I'm gonna offer. I'm gonna.
yeah.
Me too. And I'm gonna maybe complete your sentence. I think Valentine's Day is every day. I think my wife's birthday is every day. I think Christmas is every day. I hate how society has created a world where every single month we need to look towards another corporate commercial event. And then everybody has to feel fucking obligated to open up their wall. Like, this idea of obligation and expectation drives me nuts.
I rebel against it. Yeah.
You and me both. But yet,
yeah.
I think, I have children, though, and I live in a society where I got to find a way to balance it. Do you follow me? Where it's like, okay,
yep.
Recognize it's Valentine's Day tomorrow, baby, because I love her and we're going to do something about it. But to me, Valentine's Day is every day. And I, you know what I mean? And that's why I wouldn't expect you to catch on to it, but we start the show here with the morning loop because we subscribe to the idea that there's no start and end. It's still loop, right? It's still loop. It's just a continual loop, right? And if you want to be successful in life, I think you would subscribe to this. You continue to do the same things over and over that drive you success, and you do them again tomorrow. And you just do them again tomorrow. A lot of people get bored by that, but that's how success is. Success is measured by boredom. So.
Yeah. Well, when you're passionate about what you're doing and driven by that spirit, you don't feel it that way. It's the curiosity and the it is enthralling. It's captivating. It's thrilling. To discover the unimaginable.
That's awesome. Jeremy Lossman, I have thoroughly enjoyed our 30 minutes together today. I got to get you rolling here, and I'm going to wrap the show up here in a couple of minutes, but I've thoroughly enjoyed hanging out with you, thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. I would love to do a further in depth with you. I think that, so I had a show before, a morning show. It's called Live in the Lab. I sit down with somebody for an hour and a half and just dig into some really interesting deep topics. I'd love to have you back and dig into more of the SpaceX passion, like some of the nerdy stuff that I think we both probably can vibe over and make people kind of go, what the hell are they talking about? So I'd like to maybe come knock on your door and do that in the future with you. But before we say goodbye to you, where can folks connect with you? Where can they find you? How can they engage with you? Jeremy Lossman, the final words to you, brother.
So personally, I'm at Lassman Factory, my last name, Lasman Factory, on all the socials, mostly on X and Instagram. And then for the Passion Company, it's thepassioncompany.org, where they can learn more about us. You can start your upgrade to imagination technology with our free knowledge base, and generally connect with our community there. And see what we've got.
That's awesome. Hey, quickly, AI guy or not AI guy?
Pro AI, yes. Yeah. Oh my God, is a game changer.
Exactly. We got to talk. We got to talk. Jeremy Lossman, thanks for joining me today, brother. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Yeah, appreciate you too, Keith.
A lot of fun, man. And I thank you for getting us a chance to celebrate Robert Alexander. Here's how it's going to work. We made some great conversation and content today. I'm going to package up a package of content for you. I'm going to drop it into your feed. And if you decide to share it, that's awesome. Best way to support the show is telling everybody about this great morning show you're on this morning.
Will do.
All right, pal. Enjoy your day, okay?
You too. Bye.
You take care. All right, Jimmy, let's get Jeremy off the stage here. And we're going to keep the show rocking and rolling here and wrap it up this morning on Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. Jimmy, for some reason, my monitor in front of me just died. Look at that. The show's ending and it just went blank. What's crazy, Jim, is that for the longest time, this thing never died on me. Now it's just dying. I don't know what's going on here. So there you go. Learning with our technology here on Mornings in the Lab with Keith. Guys, well-oiled machine here. Jeremy comes in. We didn't really have the creator spotlight ready to go, but he's like, yeah, I got to do. Dropped it. We run it live for you guys. Everything's rolling here in the lab here this morning. Great show. We talked about relationships this morning on the show. We talked about cleaning ourselves on the show this morning. We had all kinds of conversations, and we talked about the missing ingredient in long-lasting relationships, and it's all about communication, guys. So listen, on behalf of John, on behalf of Marty, on behalf of Jeremy Lossman, on behalf of Walter, on behalf of Jimmy, hey, I'm the host. I'm Keith Billis. I'm the guy behind the mic here Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock Eastern time with the rest of the gang. It's time for us to get out of here. Truthfully, I got to go for a piss. Yeah, that's exactly what I got to go do. Yeah, I'm just there with Johnny. Hey, listen, Ninja, thanks for joining us, man. If you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, I invite you, subscribe to Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. You get content from us all day. We go live every single morning and drop content throughout the day. All right, Jim, let's get out of here, man. I'm going to run over there. Yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. 8 o'clock right here, Eastern time. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends.